Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naranchaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devin Saraswatin Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudirayet
Tato Jayat Mudirayat
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nashtapayeshu Avadreshu
Nityam Bhagavad Sevayam
Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttamasloke
Bhagavate Uttamasloke
Bhaktin Bhavadirnaistiki
Bhaktim Bhavati Mestaki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devagi Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Chala
Nandagopa Kumaraya
Nandagopa Kumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Vindaya Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees for the morning Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. Today we are going to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, text number 5, 275. The canto name is The Cosmic Manifestation, and the chapter name is Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. And in that, we are going to discuss the fifth sloka today. Please repeat the sloka beginning me. Taptam tapo vividha loka shrikshayami.
Taptam tapo vividha loka shishkshayami shishkshayami.
Adau sanatsva tapasahasa chato sana abhut.
Adu sanat swatapasaha sa jatuh sano abhu.
Prakalpa samplava vinastam ihatma tattvam.
Prakalpa samplava vinastam ihatma tattvam.
Samyog jagada munayo yat akakshatanam satman.
Samyag jagada munayo yad akasha tatman.
Word by word meaning. Tattam,
Tatta,
having undergone austerities.
having undergone austerities.
Tapaha,
Tapaha,
penance.
penance.
Vividha loka,
Devida loka,
different planetary systems.
different planetary systems.
Shishukshaya,
Srikshaya,
desiring to create.
desiring to create.
Me,
Me,
of mine.
of mine.
Adau,
Ado,
first, at first.
at first.
Sanat,
Sanat,
from the personality of Godhead.
from the personality of Godhead.
Swa tapasaha,
Swatapasaha,
by dint of my own penance.
by dint of my own penances.
Saha,
Saha,
he, the Lord.
he the Lord.
Satu sanaha,
Jatah Sanaha,
the four bachelors named Sanat Kumara,
the four bachelors named Sanat Kumara,
Sanaka,
Sanaka,
Sanatana,
Sanandana,
Sanadana, and Sanatana
and Sanatana.
Abhut,
The both
appeared.
appeared.
Prak,
Prak,
previous.
previous.
Kalpa,
Kalpa,
creation.
creation.
Samplava,
Samplava,
in the inundation.
in the inundation.
Vinashtam,
Vinashtam,
devastated.
devastated.
Iha,
Yeah,
in this material world.
in this material world.
Atma,
Atma,
the spirit.
the spirit.
Tattvam,
Tattvam,
truth.
truth.
Samyak,
Samyak,
incomplete.
incomplete.
Jagada,
Jagada,
became manifested.
became manifested.
Munayaha,
Munaya,
sages.
sages.
Yat,
Yet
that which.
that which.
Achakshata,
Achakshata,
saw clearly.
saw clearly.
Atman,
Atman,
the spirit.
the spirit.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charna and the A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation, please repeat, begin me. To create
To create
different planetary systems,
different planetary systems,
I had to undergo
I had to undergo
austerities and penance.
austerities and penances.
And the Lord,
And the Lord,
thus being pleased with me,
thus being pleased with me,
incarnated in 4 sanas:
incarnated in 4 sanas:
Sanaka,
Sanaka,
Sanat Kumara,
Sanat Kumara,
Sanandana,
Sanandana,
and Sanatana.
and Sanatana.
In the previous creation,
In the previous creation,
the spiritual truth was devastated,
the spiritual truth was devastated,
but the 4 sanas
but the 4 sanas
explained it
explained it
so nicely that
so nicely that
the truth at once
the truth at once
became clearly perceived by the sages.
became clearly perceived by the sages.
Purport. The Vishnu Sahasranama prayers mentioned the Lord's name as Sanat and Sanatanatama. The Lord and the living entities are both qualitatively Sanatana or eternal, but the Lord is Sanatanatama or the eternal in the superlative degree. The living entities are positively Sanatana, but not superlatively, because the living entities are apt to fall to the atmosphere of non-eternity. Therefore, the living entities are quantitatively different from the superlative Sanatana, the Lord. The word son is also used in the sense of charity. Therefore, when everything is given up in charity unto the Lord reciprocates by giving himself unto the devotee. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.11. Ye yata mam prapatyanti. Brahmaji wanted to create the whole cosmic situation as it was in the previous millennium. And because in the last devastation, knowledge of the absolute truth was altogether erased from the universe, he desired that the same knowledge again be renovated. Otherwise, there would be no meaning in the creation. Because transcendental knowledge is a prime necessity, the ever conditioned souls are given a chance for liberation in every millennium of creation. This mission of Brahmaji was fulfilled by the grace of the Lord when the 4 sanas, namely Sanaka, Sanatkumara, Sanatana, and Sanandana and Sanatana, appeared as his 4 sons. These 4 sanas were incarnations of the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. And as such, they explained transcendental knowledge so explicitly that all the sages could at once assimilate this knowledge without the least difficulty. By following in the footsteps of the 4 Kumaras, one can at once see the Supreme Personality of Godhead within oneself. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवाद पाशाशदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today's sloka again, the discussion between Brahma and Narada. And Brahma is explaining is explaining about the various incarnations. So from the seventh chapter, he was the timely incarnation, how it happened. He was incarnated. He was explaining those things. Today, he was explaining about the four Kumaras. They're the sons of Brahmaji. Actually, it is said that they are created from the mind of Brahma. So they are knowledge personified. Those all the four Kumaras were knowledge personified. They are also the devotees of the great devotees of the Lord. And we also learned that there are four bona fide sampradayas in the Vaishnava Sampradaya, four bona fide sampradayas. One is Brahma Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, and Kumara Sampradaya. So the lineage from Brahmas, it is Brahma Sampradaya, right? That whatever the knowledge it is transferred from Brahma, it is coming through the Sampradaya, that is Brahma Sampradaya. Whatever is coming through uh, Sri, the Lakshmi, that Sampradaya, it is coming through Sri Sampradaya. And Rudra, it is Shiva's, the knowledge is coming through Rudra, that is Rudra Sampradaya. And the fourth, the knowledge coming through the Kumaras, four Kumaras, that is Kumara Sampradaya. So the Kumara Sampradaya is one of the bona fide Sampradaya. This started by this four Kumaras. They are very knowledgeable, and the knowledge provided by Brahmaji only. And they were the four Kumaras. This Sampradaya is sometimes is called as the Nimbarka Sampradaya, because Nimbarka, he transferred this knowledge to the human beings. It is coming from the line, the discipline succession from Nimbarka it started. So it is called, sometimes it's called as the Nimbarka Sampradaya, or Kumara Sampradaya, Sanakadi Sampradaya, like that. There are multiple names they will call for this Sampradaya, but this is bona fide, because this is coming from the bona fide people. This is the four Kumaras were bona fide, because they are born out of Brahma's mind. And the main purpose of this, their creation, is to expand the knowledge about the Supreme Lord, because it is clearly explained here. In the previous millennium, everything was devastated. Then Brahmaji again is starting the creation. So the knowledge is not there. The scriptural knowledge is not there. So in order to, because scriptural knowledge is must for the material world. Because without scriptural knowledge, what will happen? The living beings, they will be like, there won't be any, always they will be in the birth and death life cycle only. They live like animals only. All our animals, plant will be there only. So it is the evolution process. They need to convey to the human being. Then they need to understand this knowledge, understand the purpose of life, and what is their position, self-realization. Then they have to get out of this material world. So without this knowledge, what will happen? It is a big chaos will happen in the society. So it won't be like a society, it is kind of an animal kingdom only. So in order to make human being distinct from the all the other creation, so this knowledge is necessary. So that's the reason Brahmaji created out of his mind this four Kumaras. Since they were came out of his mind, and the the situation also in the full of Sattva Guna situation. So they are not, they don't wanted to get, because the Brahmaji creation is to first to expand the progeny, because the human being need to expand the human beings. So for that reason he created, but the four Kumaras, they denied to get married. They wanted to maintain the brahmacharya and celibacy. So in order to be in the celibacy and the brahmacharya way, so they wanted to be like a small boys only, the 5 years age boys only. So the four Kumaras, they got that boon that they will be remain as a four boys, or small boys only, 5 years old boys only. So because they wanted to continue their celibacy and the brahmacharya. So that much penance they used to take. And they are the great devotees of the Lord. And it is mentioned here that because they are, so whatever the knowledge about the Supreme Lord, they reinvented that so that the sages able to understand that knowledges. So like that, about the four Kumaras, it is said there. So there are many pastimes also happen with the four Kumaras. One of the pastime is, because there is a very, this pastime, it is when four Kumaras, because they are wandering around the material world and the supreme world, because nobody, sorry, the spiritual world. So nobody is, because they are the knowledge personified people. So all over the places. See, if it is knowledge is personified, then there is no limit for that devotees. Like Narada also like that. He also knowledge personified. So he has, anytime he will come to the material world, anytime he go to the spiritual world, he can anywhere he can roam around, he can meet anybody. So that is the liberation. That is a liberty provided by the Lord, that they can go and meet anyone because they are knowledge personified. So like this, there's four son of the Dhanas, the Kumaras also have the knowledge personified. They wanted to meet Vishnu, Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. So the Vaikuntha, so Lord is there, and Vaikuntha has the 7 gates. So they have to cross 7 gates. Then after the seventh gate only they can enter the Vaikuntha. There, the Lord Vishnu will be there. So they wanted to meet Lord Vishnu. So in that way, they came to meet Lord. So they are trying to enter Vaikuntha. So they crossed the 6 gates. So nobody stopped them. So the seventh gate, they stopped by the gatekeepers of the Lord, Jai Vijay. So they are the Lord's gatekeepers in the Vaikuntha parent. The seventh gate, these four Kumaras were stopped by these two Kumaras. So the four Kumaras, the two gatekeepers, the four Kumaras were stopped. So they were astonished because nobody, till now, where they were wandering around the material world or the spiritual world, nobody stopped them, and they can go and meet anybody anytime. But when they wanted to meet the Supreme Lord, they are stopped by this four people. You are not qualified to meet. What is the purpose? Why you came here? All those questions they asked. So the four Kumaras, they got angry on this Jai and Vijay. Because how can they stop me? And how can they ask questions to me? I am that great devotee of the Lord. They don't know about me, about us. Like that, they were angry on them. So then they cursed these two gatekeepers, Jai and Vijay. So you need to, since you stopped us from to meet the Supreme Lord, so you have to take birth in the Mritti Lok, where the means which is the material world. You have to take the birth in the material world. So that is the way the Jai and Vijay, they took the birth in the material world. They said 3 lifetimes they have to take the birth in the material world. So then Lord came out from the Vaikuntha inside, and he came to the gate, and he glorified those four Kumaras, and he told that since this Jay and Vijay, please forgive them because they were not aware of you, like that. He asked the forgiveness about with the four Kumaras. And the four Kumaras were satisfied, and the Lord himself told that this two, Jay and Vijay, they will take their birth, and all the three birth in the material world, I will I will give them the I will release them from the material world. That's the promise Lord gave to this Vijay and Vijay. So the Jai and Vijay in the Satya Yuga, they took birth as a Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So they, because whenever the material world, so who are all taking birth in the material world? There are the lust, anger, and greed, who are all having this qualities, so they have to take birth in the material world. So this uh, the three times they have to take birth in this material world. So the three times they are personified of this lust, anger, and greed. So the first, the Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, the two brothers, they are Jai Vijay. They are the incarnation of Jai and Vijay. So they took birth here and in the personification of greed. They are greedy to, they wanted to, they wanted to become a lord. So that much greed they had. So then Lord mercifully appeared. Then Lord took the avatar of boar and he killed Hiranyaksha and took the avatar of Narasimha and killed the Hiranyakashipu. So this is the first, the Satyava, it happened. So then they wanted to take the next, because there are three times they have to take avatars. They take three times they have to take birth in this material world. So that is the reason. First is the first time they took birth Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Lord mercifully appeared and relieved them. Next, they took the birth as Ravana and Kumbhakarna in the Treta Yuga. So Ravana, as Ravana and Kumbhakarna, again, Lord mercifully appeared as Ramavatara. He came and he killed Kumbhakarna and Ravana. So this is the second time it is left. And during the Rama Avatara also, these four Kumaras, they wanted to meet Rama, not Rama. They heard about the Rama is the supreme personality of God because they are unable to enter Vaikuntha to meet the Supreme Lord. So they wanted to meet the Lord in the jungle. So we came to the jungle when Lord was in the Vanvas, Lord Ram in the Vanvas, that time they wanted to meet Lord Ram. So he came to the forest and they met Lord Ram. And Lord Ram glorified them, glorified the four Kumaras. So they also pleased with the Lord Ram's glorification and they also glorified the Supreme Lord. So like that, they met the Lord, son of the four Kumaras. So the Lord mercifully, he based on that Jai Vijay, they took the birth and again they took birth as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Then the Lord killed the Ravana and Kumbhakarna at the second time. So the third time, so the third time, the Dwapara Yuga, they appeared as Vijay and Vijay appeared as Sisupala and Dandavakra. So they also killed by Lord in the incarnate when the Lord came directly as Krishna. So he killed this both and they went back to the Vaikuntha planet, the Jai and Vijay. So this three incarnations, the three times they took birth as a to one each time they could the first incarnation they were very greedy and Ravana and Kumbhakarna lusty and the Shishupala and Dandavakra is angry. So there are personified. There's a predominant qualities. So when the person, so this is to notify for all of us that if a person having lust, greed, and anger, they need to be take birth in this material. They need to material world. They need to be go through this material world. Once they get the knowledge, then they can be liberated by the Supreme Lord. So this is the way the incarnation happened, and the four Kumaras they were wandering around all over the universe, and they were expanding the knowledge, the material world as well as the spiritual world. So their prime purpose is to teach about the Supreme Lord. And so that here in this Prabhupada was explaining about uh, the Lord reciprocation. So when we are giving everything in the as a charity unto the Supreme Lord, then Lord will reciprocates by giving himself to the devotee. That's what Lord is explaining here. So in Bhagavad Gita 4.11, Lord is saying that ye yatamam prapadyante tamstam taiva bhajami agham mama vritman vivartante manushyaha partha sarvasaha. So he is saying, Lord is saying that as all surrender unto me, I rewarded them accordingly. Everyone following my path in all respect, O son of Pratha. So he is saying that all are surrendering to the Supreme Lord. According to their surrenderness, Lord will giving back to those living entities. So if a devotee, if a individual living entity, it became a devotee, and if they are fully understand the Supreme Lord, they surrender, then they can go to the based on their mood. They were asked how they wanted to serve the Supreme Lord, because there are different rasas the devotee can have the connection with the Supreme Lord. There are Santarasa, Sakya Rasa, Dasya Rasa, and Vatsalya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa. There are five kind of rasas. Any rasas, they can become a father of the Supreme Lord. They can become a friend of the Supreme Lord. They can become a servant of the Supreme Lord. And they can keep distance and stay as a Santarasa mood also, the Supreme Lord, but they will be along with the Supreme Lord. So like that, there are multiple rasas. Madhuri Rasa means it's the highest one. It is with a loving relationship with the Lord. So there are multiple rasas we can have the relationship with the Supreme God. So how much ever they are desiring, Lord will provide that kind of receive. He will reciprocate. Lord will reciprocate in that kind of how they are surrendering, that kind of thing. Lord also reciprocate to us. And the impersonalist, they are not ready to accept the Lord personal form. According to them, they wanted to merge into the Brahma Jyoti. Even Lord also accepting them also in the Brahma Jyoti. Okay, let them, because they are not understanding the personal feature. They wanted to serve the Supreme Lord. They wanted to merge with the Brahma Jyoti. So Lord also accepting them also. Like that. And also other people who are not worshipping the Supreme Lord, they are worshipping the demigods. Even through the demigods, they are worshipping indirectly they are worshipping the Supreme Lord only. That is what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Even though the person who is worshipping the demigod, we are asking something from the demigod. The sanctioner and provider is the Supreme Lord only through the demigods. Since they are aspiring to worship the demigod, their mood, their quality, the Lord is accepting them also through the demigods. So this is the way Lord is, how much they are surrendered, that much He is revealing to the human beings. That's why He said, ye yata mam prapatyante. How much they are desire to connect with the Supreme Lord, that much Lord also will be connect with the. So these four Kumaras, they are also, today's sloka we discussed about this four Kumaras of Brahmaji. So the four Kumaras, they are also devotee of the Lord. Actually, they also, through them also, there is the four bona fide parampara. Their parampara also one of the bona fide parampara. They are also devotees of Lord Vishnu, and they are expanded their knowledge throughout the material and spiritual world. So they are the sons of the Brahmaji. They born out of Brahma's mind. We are knowledge personified. So here Prabhupada is saying that by following in the footsteps of the four Kumaras, one can at once see the Supreme Personality of God within oneself. So we can see the Supreme, by if you are following the teachings of Kumaras, four Kumaras, we can see the Supreme Lord within oneself, ourselves, within our himself, within inside of us, we can see the Supreme Lord. So that means the Paramatma realization will happen by following the footsteps of the four Kumaras. That's what explained by Prabhupada. And today's sloka, it's talked about the incarnation. This is the four Kumaras incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.